If you enjoy steak like I do, I'm about to make you very happy. I'm gonna save you a lot of money. I eat steak pretty often in my house, sometimes on a weekly basis. And when I'm paying a little more attention to what my doctor says, maybe every other week. But I love my steak. And when you eat steak often, or you like to eat a bunch of it, you really need to kind of be budget conscious. It can get out of control as far as cost goes. I always try to recommend a prime grade or better. However, if you prepare and cook a choice grade steak just right, you can get an amazing steak from a choice grade steak, and that's what your typical grocery store sells. But the tip I have for you today is not about getting a budget, piece of meat that's on sale in the end of the meat racket and it's, goes bad tomorrow. It's about trading a little bit of effort for a lot of wonderful steak. What you're looking at is a whole beef tenderloin. This is the piece of meat that the butchers cut your fillets, your filet mignons out of. And it's an absolutely wonderful piece of meat. But to save a lot of money, I got all this steak. This was almost 7 pounds for $61. I'm sure in other parts of the country you can get an even better deal. But there is a little bit of a trade-off, and let me show you what it is. So a butcher, what you're paying for a lot of is the trimming, the knowledge of what to trim, and then the actual effort of doing the trim. There's a part on this beef tenderloin right here where two muscles kind of come together. And what we want to do is take our knife and kind of go right into that fat layer. You need a nice sharp knife. We're going to take that muscle off. All right, now don't throw that away. This would be perfect for some hamburgers. I'm gonna take all my scraps and then you can grind that up and get some wonderful hamburger meat. So what the butcher does is he trims all this silver skin off. He trims the fat off, and he knows how to do it pretty quickly. But we can do the same thing with just a little bit of effort. So with a nice sharp knife that's nice and thin, just start trimming all of the white fat off. When you get a fillet, they usually don't have much fat, and a lot of this has silver skin in it. Silver skin is very, very chewy. You get silver skin in your mouth when you're taking a bite of steak, it's not going to be a very pleasant experience. So we're going to try to get all that off of there. Also want to kind of think about shape. The more even a shape you have, the more even it's going to cook. You see this guy here, we're going to trim that off. Now you can see a lot of silver skin. See all this? This is all silver skin. We don't want that on there. You really want to make sure you get all the silver skin, guys. I can't stress that to you enough. It'll be very disappointing to get this very, very stringy stuff in your mouth if you take a bite and you miss some of it. It's going to take you about 15 minutes to do it right. Also want to feel it. Like right here, I can feel that's really hard. And that's part of that muscle. We're going to go ahead and take more of that off. Feel it. Feel for any hard spots. All right, starting to take shape now. What you want to do on the ends is you probably want to take just a little bit of the end off if it's small. That side's pretty good, but see this? It's much smaller, so this is going to burn. All right, now we have a pretty good piece of meat here. Now, you can do this. Actually, I am going to snip just a hair here. There we go. Look at that beautiful piece of meat. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to marinate this entire piece for about 2 hours. You could cut this into steaks now. You could cut it into steaks after you marinate it. Or you can do what I'm going to do, and that's smoke it whole and then cut it into steaks. It really doesn't matter which way you do it. I'm going to marinate it with a pepper marinade, a Stubbs pepper marinade. Absolutely love this stuff. So that's going to give me lots of flavor on this meat, and then I'll put some salt and pepper on it, and it's going to turn out amazing. Just going to put it in a Ziploc bag. Don't worry about it if it folds up. Kind of want it to get it down the bottom. Stubbs makes some great stuff. I like their products, and they keep changing it up and trying new stuff, and I really like it. I think they great company, and I enjoy their products. I'm gonna do this for a minimum of 2 hours, guys. You can do it longer if you want, but a minimum of 2 hours. Just gonna dump it in. And give it a little squish, get it all over. You know, you get lots of coverage here. Now I'm literally just gonna place this in the refrigerator with the meat on the bottom, keeping it, probably go into the fridge every hour or so and squish it just to mix it up a little bit. And then we're gonna cook this guy. Like I said, I'm gonna be using my Lone Star smoker. I'm gonna be using it more as a grill, but I still want that wood flavor. Now, to get a hotter fire faster, you can mix some charcoal in with the wood. I'm gonna do all wood. I'm gonna just kind of be patient with it and get that, temperature up to above 400 at least before I think about putting those steaks on there. So I need a real hot fire. Charcoal can definitely help get that fire hotter quicker. For my wood selection, I'm going to be using a mix of cherry and hickory wood. Often I get comments about the gear that I'm using to record my videos, cameras, microphones, all that kind of stuff. And, I don't really like to get into the tech side of things on this channel. And that's because I have another channel, and it's called my name, Mike Willie. If you go over, and I'll leave a link down below and maybe one up above, my other channel has everything to do with cameras, video, and how I do everything, and hiking. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, make sure you check that out. I would really appreciate your support. Okay, so it's time to go ahead and take the tenderloin out of the marinade. I'm going to lay it on this tray, and then I'm going to put some seasoning on it. Here's the seasoning I'm using today. Might as well stay with Stubbs. I mean, it's a good steak rub. It's got, it's basics: salt, pepper, and a little bit of ancho chili. Oh, it smells amazing. An important step with any steak is to dry the outside of the steak off. Even if you've had it in a marinade, you just kind of want to pat it dry. You don't want to squeeze it. You don't want to really rub it or anything like that. You're just patting it dry. And I'm just going to take my Stubbs seasoning and just sprinkle it on the outside. Kind of pat it in as I'm doing it. Roll it. Okay, so we're about 375. I have the fire roaring hot, and it just takes a while sometimes with, with a wood fire for the fire to get hot enough to get up to those kinds of temperatures for a grill this size. Got the tenderloin all seasoned. I've let it sit for about an hour. outside of the refrigerator in the house on the counter there. Get too crazy with it, but I'm just shaping it and making sure it's compressed this way. Now what it's going to do with these hot temperatures is it's going to kind of puff out a little bit, and that's going to be perfect. That's what we want. And I'm going to let it go like this on 2 minutes per side. So 2 minutes like this, and I'll flip it a quarter turn, 2 minutes, flip a quarter turn, and so on. And then what I'm going to do is put it down on the bottom rack and just get some smoke. Important to shape it again once you get it turned. When you're cooking it, the exterior is creating a crust, so it's going to kind of stiffen up. You want to make sure you keep it in the right shape so that you can get nice even steaks out of it. If you have some patience with it, you'll get your grill marks. Just keep rotating, and then most importantly, check it with a thermopin. You do not want the center to get past, say, 130. Medium rare, medium rare, 130 is where you want to take this off the smoker. It's going to carry over. You're going to get probably 5 degrees of carryover or rise in temperature after you take it off the smoker and start letting it rest. This is my last turn, so now I'm just going to kind of look at it, and you know, if there's any sides that I want a little more of a grill mark on, watching my temperature of the internal, I'm good, 87. So I've got plenty of room here. Worst case scenario, if you couldn't get the grill marks you were looking for, take it over to your gas grill and just sear it for a couple of minutes on each side, and you'll get that nice heavy sear. If you're not as concerned about a real dense sear, then this is going to be perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect, and the flavor is going to be amazing. 103, right in the center there. I'm going to leave it right on the top grill, and I'm going to leave the fire right at 400 because it's looking perfect until I start to see the sear get, you know, beyond or getting close to beyond what I prefer. Then I'm going to keep it just like this, and I'm just going to keep rotating it every about 5 minutes or so and checking the internal temperature. We've been about 400 to 425 now. This is the hottest it's been for about 30 minutes. And now I'm going to kind of back off the temperature because I'm getting the sear that I was looking for. Now I'm just trying to get it up to medium, and you know, medium rare, 130. And you know, take it up to whatever temperature you like. You know, that's up to you. A bit hard to see, losing daylight here, but we are probably close. 132. Ooh, that's hot. Yeah, it's done. I'm gonna get a plate. We're gonna take this off the smoker and we're gonna let it rest for about a half an hour. Didn't that come out perfect? I mean, absolutely beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful sear on the outside. Now let's find out what's on the inside. Now when cutting this up, we're gonna cut it steak size. So cut it whatever size steak you like. I like about a knuckle. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut them in knuckles. Well, I should have put a wet paper towel underneath of it. I forgot. Now look at how many steaks we got out of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We won't count the end cap. Now they all vary in size, but in the middle here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 good sized fillet steaks here. And when you think about a little over $60 and 7 steaks, that's less than $10 a steak. And then some, because you have some extra pieces on the outsides. I mean, you got at least 2 on each end here. I mean, that is incredibly good steak for good money. I mean, you're not going to be able to beat that kind of price. And all you have to do is a little extra work with the trimming. Let's try this steak out. You can't see it because it's nighttime, but this is one juicy looking steak. And the coolest thing about this steak, man, I wish you could see it. I wish it was daytime. Around the outside, an incredibly defined and beautiful smoke ring. Let's try this steak out. The smokiness. That is some good steak. Cooked perfectly. That smoky wood fire, flavor. It's intense. Now listen, how I do it is just a guideline. Tweak it to suit your satisfaction. If you want a little extra seasoning or, whatever, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But if you stick by the general principles of what I just showed you with this thing, you can have a lot of steak for a little bit of money. This is where it's at, guys. Do that little extra bit of trimming, and man, does it pay off. Steak time.